All right. Hello, people. Okay. I hope that everything is working fine. Um, last time we had one of these, the audio was having some issues. So I'm trying to understand. It's weird. It's sounding a little bit different than usual. I'm trying to understand if everything's good. Please let me know if there is any issue with the audio. But it should be good. All right, we see and we hear you. Cool, people are joining. All right, yeah, welcome everyone. So, this is the OPR Hangout. It's a monthly stream that we do. Basically, for those that are new, the way it works is I'm gonna give you a little bit of like a studio update. There's gonna be like a presentation. I'll give you a studio update. Then I'll show you some previews of models that are coming in February. Then I'll show you concepts of stuff that's coming in March, and then finally we have a Q&A. For the Q&A, so I'm going to put a link up in the like as a pinned post. Let me double check. I don't remember exactly how I did it last time. But okay, submit questions here. Okay, I'm gonna pin it to the top, and it should be at the top. Okay. Okay, cool. So one thing about the questions and the thing. So something that people brought up last time, and the time before, whatever, is that we, I'm usually asking the questions. I'm usually collecting the questions, well, before the stream, but also during the stream. And so what happens is that at the end, when we get to the Q&A, I just kind of have to like sift through like a dozen, or well, a ton of messages, and they get, we get repeat questions, we get stuff like that. So okay, this time we're gonna kind of keep it like that, but what I'm gonna do is that at the end of the stream, like I guess maybe during the Q&A section, I'm going to give you already a new link for you to start asking the questions for the next stream. And then ideally, basically every stream, throughout the stream and until the next stream, we're always going to have like the open question box. Collect all the questions for the next stream, and then before the next stream I will filter through those questions, and then pick whatever the 10, 15 most interesting questions. Yeah, and basically go through those instead of having this whole thing where it's like, people always asking the same stuff. Let's hope that this time it's not too bad, but well, it happened before. Also another thing, so because in December, the last stream was delayed. I did it at the beginning of January. It's only been a couple of weeks, so I don't have a ton of stuff to show you. Generally speaking, coming back to work from the vacation has been a little rough. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of work, and just a lot of organization and preparation for the year. And there's new armies coming, and there's new projects coming. We're already hiring new people for some of the new projects that we're working on. So it's been very busy in ways that I can't really show you. But yes, maybe the stream is going to be faster than the others. All right, I see that. Okay, we have a good amount of people that already joined. We have about 60 people, 65 people. The number seems to keep going up. So okay, I think we can. All right, I think we can start. So let's see what we got here. So number one, oh yes. So this is a thing that we've been working on for a long time now, and I'm hoping we'll be live in February. Fingers crossed. But yeah, we have a new website that we've been working on. So the current website that you have, the current OPR website that we have, is like almost 10 years old. I made it back in 2014. It was never meant to be a very professional website. It was just at the beginning, it was just a blog so that I could kind of collect, I could kind of collect the rules there and keep people up to date as to what was happening. And then slowly as the project grew, like it became bigger and bigger and bigger. And it is, well, the website that you see today. It looks kind of shitty. And so yeah, we're working on a new website. Here, in the on the top of the screen, whatever. You can see a preview of the new website. So the new website is going to have all of the up to date OPR branding. It's going to feature a ton of art. It's going to feature pictures of the actual miniatures. We want to put lore in there. We are there's a lot of things that's happening, or that are happening. I Let me take you through a couple of them, because having a new website is going to mean require is going to require a little bit of like adaptation, because structure is changing, and um, now we're building the website a little bit more with use cases in mind of like, okay, what do people actually want, and which pages are used by which type of people, and stuff like that. And so, what will the new website feature? Well, it will feature, I mean, the stuff that you already know, right? Like a news section, the game section, and stuff like that. But those will all be altered a bit. So, um, the news section is going to change. So right now we have this thing where like every Friday I make like a huge, well, depending on the week, I make a big blog post where I just kind of like say, hey, this is everything that happened over the last week. It's not really great because in order to make sure that the post doesn't become too big, I have to make every little section really tiny. And also because it's like a weekly thing, um, there's many weeks where just there's nothing really to show you, and so I'm kind of just trying to make something, not make something up, but like trying to find something to fill that Friday spot. So it's not great. So yeah, instead of doing that, we're going to have like the news posts are going to be like individual posts when something comes up that is relevant. And then each news post is going to talk about one specific thing. um, and yeah, so that's how the news is going to change. It's going to be more like article based rather than like one big weekly post. But we know that people, not everybody's always going to be paying attention to the website and stuff like that. So in order to help people like have a, I don't know what you call it, like a monthly digest thing. We're going to bring back the newsletter. So for those that don't know, I think up to about 2 years ago ish, we used to have a newsletter. So at the end of the month, basically, we would kind of send people a recap of like, hey, this is what happened over the last month. This is what's relevant. Check out these links and stuff like that. And so yeah, instead of having the weekly post that says here, check out everything, we'll make the individual posts, and then at the end of the month, if you're subscribed to the newsletter, you're going to get a nice email saying like, hey, like here's some highlights of everything that happened over the month, um, which will hopefully help make the news a bit more relevant, and not just like, hey, I have nothing to say, here's a new video or whatever. With that, we're also going to change a little bit how the comics are shown. We're making a new comics page, well, new comics pages, so that's going to be nice to have them organized. We're also changing. We're also changing a little bit how we provide free models. So right now we provide free models a little bit randomly. So if you follow a couple of hidden, not hidden, but like difficult to find links, you can end up on another website on Colts, and then on Colts 3D you can kind of download a random one-off model here and there, or you end up on a Google Drive where you have like some black and white, paper minis and stuff like that. And it's all very random in a way. So the idea for the future is that instead of giving you just a bunch of just random, hey, here's one random model here and there that doesn't really mean anything, we're going to make starter sets that are so free starter sets with free models and terrain and rules and everything, that kind of include, well, that kind of give a context to the free stuff. So like instead of giving you, hey, here's like a free here's one free Ratman. It's gonna be like, hey, um, you know, uh, go to the starter set, and here you have like enough Ratman to build like a small army, and here's enough Saurians to build a small army, and here's some army lists, and here's some lore, and here's, I mean, ideally, if what I would also like to have is like a sort of like step by step learn how to play the game, like a couple of scenarios type of situation. But I don't know if we can do it at the beginning. It depends on the time. So basically, like, make a nice starter set completely free. A 2D printable, paper printable, whatever starter set that's completely free with minis, with terrain, with tokens, with everything, and a 3D print starter set that's completely free. So, um, minis and terrain and tokens, everything completely free. So it's like if you have a paper printer or a 3D printer, um, get your free starter sets and get a bunch of free stuff whilst learning the game. Which, yeah, I think that's gonna be really cool. We're also thinking about doing something similar for physical print, but there, it's a bit, with physical stuff, it's always a bit more complex. So we're talking to the Only Games team to see what we can do there, and then also organizing internally. So the physical starter set, to be seen. But the 3D print and 2D print one, yes. Other things about the new website. So yeah, we're reorganizing how we are going to give out the rules. So we're gonna have like a nice resource section. So one of the problems that we have right now with the rules is that they're all in different like Google Drive links and stuff like that, and a lot of stuff gets hidden and lost. And so instead, we're gonna have like a nice big, well, on each games page, you're still gonna have like the downloads there. At least that's the idea. And then we want to have like one big like resource page where for let me kind of explain the use case scenario. So, right, if you're a new guy or a new girl, whatever, a new player, you're going to open the website. You're going to go to maybe like just, we're gonna have like a start here button. You go there, you download the starter set. Cool, you get to know the game. But if you're someone that's just coming, you're a veteran, you know what you're doing. Instead of having to go through each individual game page and then link whatever, we're gonna have like a nice big resource page where if you want, you just bookmark that one and you just scroll through it and it's okay, I'm going to download this, boom, 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 and get everything really quick. Yeah, we also want to have like a nice get started page with the starter sets, talking about the lore, talking about the minis, talking about the community, the experience as a whole. We want to have a community page where we also like we feature the game gems. Well, not the game gems, sorry, the writing gems, for example, and we let people know about our Discord, and hopefully as it comes along, we'll have the volunteers program there. So recruitment kits, demo kits, tournament kits, ways to find players. We're currently experimenting a little bit with Discord forums, kind of like for this thing. So to essentially have a centralized place, because right now, if you want to find OPR players, you can officially, the only two things you can do basically is go to the forum where we have like the we have like a game finder board, but nobody uses the forum, unfortunately. Or you can go to Discord or Facebook and just kind of like ask randomly, but that's get lost in the mist. So we want to have a we want to have a more centralized place that is more visible on Discord for people to like share communities and stuff like that, and meet people. So whatever, lots of stuff, lots of work on the website, lots of changes. Some things are going to be removed. I want to put this out there. So we already started removing some stuff in preparation for this. So lately we removed some of the old paper mini sets. I think we removed the old paper starter sets, and also one thing that's going to be removed for now is, so I'm literally talking to less than 1% of our audience, but I think I need to be very clear about this. So the one-off game section is going to be removed. Um, less than 1% of our audience actually, downloads and plays those games. I know that those people that play those games, they love them, but I don't really see any point in having, a bunch of disjointed, not refined games that, I made 5 years ago or 7 years ago or 8 years ago, or whatever, on the website, just kind of floating around. It doesn't mean they'll be gone forever. I would love to take some of those games and bring them back, but like in full, as full games. But there's other stuff there that's like, nah, yeah. So yeah, if you're somebody that loves the one-offs games, download them and keep them. Well, whatever version you have right now is the latest version because they've not been updated for years. But yes, just so you know. And yeah, so that's about the new website. We are hoping that it comes out in February, and that it's going to be cool. That's what we hope. But we are very aware that there is going to be a period of adjustment. So we appreciate your feedback, and we're gonna also adapt based on what people say. But there will be an adjustment period. It's normal. Okay, my God, this was the first slide, and I already spent like 50 minutes on it. But okay, I'll try to be faster for the next ones. Okay, so what's the next one? Okay, this is gonna be another slow one. So, as part of the, one thing of like we're updating the website, and on the other side we're also updating the Army Forge. So Okay, what's going to happen with Army Forge? So right now we have the web app, where you go and you check out the PDFs, and then there, if you want, you click on Army Forge and you end up on Army Forge where you can build your lists. We have found that this has caused a lot of confusion in the community. People don't know, should we be going to the web app, should we be going to the Army Forge, and truth to be told, it seems that the vast majority of the community, at the end of the day, really just wants to build lists. Not a lot of people really care that much about the PDFs now that we have the list builder. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like uh, change the paradigm of how things are. We're going to keep the PDFs. Let me say this up front, but we're going to slightly change the paradigm. So, number one, we're going to have the Army Forge as the entry point towards list building. So you go to Army Forge, you go create the list, you select your armies, and then when you go there in the Army Forge to select the army, just like you do right now, imagine you choose Alien Hives, then there you will have the ability to download the PDF. So instead of having the web app and the Army Forge, boom, you have the Army Forge. On the Army Forge, you either build your list or you download the PDF. Easy. The PDF, we're actually currently working on a new version of how we display the PDFs. So we know that the way that you currently have, like, you have the list with all the units, and then you have like the upgrade numbers like A, B, C, upgrade letters A, B, C, D, whatever, and then you have to go down. You kind of have to search which unit belongs to which upgrade package and whatever. Um, which is kind of messy. So we're going to change the PDFs into the following. At least this is the plan for now. Is that on the first page, you're going to still have the list. You're going to have the list of all the units with their base loadouts and their point costs, like just as you know it, but without the upgrade letter column. Instead, from page 2 onwards, instead of having all the upgrade lists, you're going to have a unit card. So the unit card basically has, well, all the info that you really need. It tells you like what's the name, what's the amount of models, what's the cost, quality, defense, equipment, whatever, and then there, as part of the unit card, you will have all of the upgrades for that unit. And we hope that for the people that are using the PDF, it's going to make it much easier to actually understand, like, okay, what can I upgrade this unit with, instead of having to jump around and be like, oh, okay, I can upgrade with A, oh, but it also has access to K, and then this interacts with J. A mess. So hopefully this thing will help, will help make things a little bit clearer, and also it will help us, ideally, it will help us avoid the old problem of having the shared upgrade list. So one of the problems that we see with game balance is that, especially in Grimdark Future, you have you have multiple units accessing the same shared list for usually it's kind of like for hero and sergeant upgrades. So like upgrade your sergeant with a plasma pistol and then give him an energy sword and then whatever. And the problem is that then you will have multiple units with different quality values, accessing the same upgrade list. And that way, and then what happens is that the upgrade list just defaults to the highest point cost. So all the units with a lower quality value basically just get screwed over. So by changing to this method, also we are changing because then the upgrade list is tied to the unit. Um, we're going to stop having this shared thing, and the cost should be better, improving the system. Anyway, but this is not the really exciting part. This is great, but let's go for the real deal. So for those of you that work with the Army Forge every day and might have been looking at the screen, if you look at the bottom, I mean right here, right above me, you can see a new button, and the button says "Create an Army Book." So, what is the Create an Army Book feature? Well, this is the big thing. So basically, this is a new point calculator thing. So this is going to be the Army Book Creator. In order to make things a little bit more clear, we're probably going to change the name of it. Like instead of just having the point calculator, maybe it's going to be like, you have Army Forge and then you have the Army Forge Studio or the Army Forge Creator, whatever. And basically, yeah. So this is going to be the replacement for the point calculator, and we actually finally have some screenshots to show you, so I can show you what it's actually going to look like. So, oh god, I'll try to speed up. Basically, you click on Create an Army Book. Okay. Um, Boop. You are going to end up here, whatever. So what is this? So this is basically the Army Forge Studio or whatever we're gonna call it, and here you create your books. So you're going to have a list of all the books that you've created, and you can edit them. And when you create a book, at the end of the book creation, you're going to have a little checkbox that says private or public. If the book is on private, then you can share it via link, and you can just share it with your friends and whatever, and people can enjoy it and whatnot. But if you click on public, the book goes public, which means the book is then automatically added to the Army Forge, and everybody can access it. But I will show you a bit more later. So here you can see, for instance, that as a test, we have like a bunch of lists that we created. And yeah, once you open a list, you can actually go and up. Well, my finger can't go up there, but well, at the very top of the screen, you can see that you can basically edit every part of the army. So you can add new units. For each unit, you can add the quality, the defense, the size. The point costs are calculated automatically. You don't need to punch in numbers anymore. You don't need to go and create an Excel sheet. You don't need to do anything. Put in your weapons, put in your special rules, and then there's more tabs. You can add the upgrades. You can add special rules. You can create your own spell lists. You can have the flavor tab where you put like images and like your description of the army and why it's cool and whatever. And then, well, in the settings part is where you choose basically like for which game is the army, and well, and is it public or not? And yeah, as part of this, we're also going to basically move move everything from the PDF to the Army Forge. So ideally, I think in an initial stage, we're going to have a couple of documents still in PDF form, but ideally, in the long term, everything is going to be directly on the Army Forge, and there's not going to be a PDF. As the games keep expanding, as we have more special rules, as we have more things, having that PDF is just a burden, and it's making things more difficult. And we also, with one of the main reason the PDF is there right now is because you can't really do the calculation. You have to do the calculation by hand, right? So, but we believe that once we have this, full-fledged, just create your army, just type everything in, and it calculates everything automatically. We don't think that many people are actually going to really care about, oh my god, like toughness divided by whatever times 3, that's the value of whatever. It's not going to matter exactly what the calculation is. And so that's why we're not going to need the PDF. But don't worry. All of the math is still going to be exposed within this thing, which is, I think right now we're calling it the oh god, the compendium? No. The glossary, whatever. It's the point calculator section. So the point calculator section basically has, as you can see, it has a search function. You can see all of the special rules of the game. You can see all of the core rules. You can see all of the special rules from all of the armies. You can see their text. You can see for which games they're enabled. You can see their text description for the base games, for the skirmish games, for the regiments game. And you can actually see here, you're kind of exposing one of them. You can actually see how it works. Like, does this rule have a rating? Is it for units? Is it for weapons? Is it a common rule? And then at the bottom, for those of you that you know, look here, you can actually see the math behind how the unit is made. Again, we don't think that most people are actually really going to care about this because the math is all fully automatic. But for those that care, here it is. Enjoy it. And yeah, and on top of that, then you're going to have like a second tab where, well, here I cropped it, so I'm not revealing the point calculator to the world, but yes, we're going to have a nice page that kind of explains like, hey, this is actually how units are calculated, and this is actually how special rules are calculated, or whatever, or weapons and stuff like that. And then we want to expand it. We want to also, ideally, we want to give you a more sophisticated like spell builder and stuff like that. Basically, everything that was in the PDF, you're going to have it here, just a little bit differently. And also, yeah, I'm currently in the works. I'm currently working on some PDFs to actually help people out. So one PDF, well, and then eventually these are also going to be integrated here, but whatever. One PDF is going to be like a full-on tutorial, kind of telling you like, hey, this is how how you create your first army, how you create your first unit, how do you make an upgrade package, how do you build how do you build a weapon, how do you make a combined item, how do you make a spell list, whatever. So one PDF is just a tutorial on like how to use this thing. And I think that no matter what, over time, we're going to keep improving tutorialization of the whole system so that, maybe we can have like tool tips and stuff like that. And maybe even, who knows? I mean, the programmers are going to kill me now, but like maybe, who knows? We could have like an auto like tutorialization thing where like it literally takes you through like step by step with pop ups and whatever. Anyway, one PDF, for now it's PDF. One PDF explained to you how does it work, and then another PDF that's going to explain like, well, how do you even make a balanced army, right? How many heroes should an army have in proportions to its unit? The whole old thing of like toughness to wounds dealt, and like what should an army have, what shouldn't an army have, what is a proper balance ratio and stuff like that. And yeah, basically everything there for you to kind of learn how to make an army, like a proper balanced army. One thing that we want to add is a. Okay, let me explain this. So we know this. We know that patrons are gonna hop in and they're gonna use the army creator, and it's gonna be fun, and that's great. Um, but what we worry about is that you know people are going to just go in there and create completely unreasonably unbalanced armies, and then they're gonna like print them out or whatever, or come up with the army forge and go to somebody else and be like, oh, play with my army, it's completely balanced. And then yeah, they're just essentially getting screwed over. So in order to stop that, we want to have a sort of like automatic system that when you go to save an army, it tells you, look, this thing, this thing, this thing, this unit, this upgrade, this special rule, all of these things are unbalanced. They're not following the strict requirements that we are giving you for what we believe that a fan army should have. What? That makes no sense. Whatever. We have a list of requirements for fan armies to follow so that their army is considered balanced. If you don't follow those requirements, you can still save your army. You can still, play it. You can still do whatever, but it will be hidden from the official search, and it will have like a little banner on top saying like, "Hey, unbalanced." Like we don't claim that this army is balanced. Uh, Ideally, I mean, this system is going to take some tweaking and trying and whatever. Ideally, we want that system to be relatively strict. Honestly, stricter than what we have on the official armies, because we really want to make sure that people don't get screwed over. But again, you want to create a crazy army, and then via link send it to your friends, and then they can access it. But yes, this is the plans. Okay. Yeah, let me show you. I have a couple more slides. Yeah. Okay. And then yeah, when you go to the Army Forge, so instead of just having the current view where you have like all the squares with the official armies, you're going to have a tab at the top. On the left, official books; on the right, fan books. If you click on fan books, I mean, this is a work in progress screenshot, but you're just gonna have like a big list of all the fan books. You're gonna see like who created them, when they were last updated. We want to have like a voting system, like a rating system, so people can rate the armies. We would like to have like a sort of maybe like a report system, just in case like some weird stuff happens. There's going to be a search bar, so you can search armies. And yeah, they're filtered by game, so you don't have to worry about that. And also because we have this whole thing now with the what do you call it? Compatible with OPR program, right? We want to actually have a way for you to sort of like find those books easily. So imagine like you because everybody can access this, right? This is not a patrons only feature. Like once an army, like the army book creation feature is patrons only, but once the army is created, it's publicly available for everyone. So imagine like we have a great partnership now with Dragon Trappers Lodge, right? Like they made some really cool models that we're compatible with OPR. So in the future, you will be able to go here to fan books, and you're going to have like a little check mark or whatever, where you can select like show me, partner armies only, and then you're going to see all the partner armies, or you can just write Dragon Trappers Lodge or whatever, and you can find all the armies that they made, and then yeah, you're going to be able to download the PDF, but more importantly, you're going to be able to build the list directly from the Army Forge. So yeah, that's yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. Hopefully, end of February. I don't know. Web developers, don't kill me. But I'm saying end of February. Don't kill me. Let's see where we're at by the next update. Okay. And I think okay, this is one more slide. Yeah, just one final thing. Like we're actually like reworking the view that you have right now when you go to create a list, because we've introduced a bunch of features over time, and they kind of like overlap in the current way that they're done. Um, so yeah, we're also changing the view here to kind of like show you, how to create custom lists or generate a list, like because you can auto generate lists now. We have some preset point limits for you to be able to quickly choose between them, and then custom for, of course, doing whatever point value you want. And then right there where it currently says like selected army books and my fan books, we want to have like a little button with like the PDF. And so boop, if you want, you click on the PDF button, boom, you get the PDF that you know and love, and you get to enjoy. Okay, so all right, we already spent half an hour on this. I'm gonna try and speed run now. Okay, okay, cool. So that was it. That was a big part talking about the new website, about the new Army Forge. I hope you enjoyed it. We're very excited. I'm very excited. Um, yeah, it's gonna be cool. Okay, cool. Let's go to the next thing. So, oh yeah, so short story. So, as you may well know, we have been working on extending and improving and exposing the lore of our games more. And part of that process is going to be the release of short stories. So we want to release 2 short stories every month, one for fantasy, one for Grimdark Future, one for sci-fi, one for fantasy, whatever. The short stories are 3,500 words, so that's like what 3, 4, 5 pages, something like that. And they kind of like go through different factions and give you a little bit of an insight into like their story. And now on the streams, I'm always like highlighting some of the stories that we've made and like what they're about as a tease for what's coming up. So the Garden of War. So the Garden of War is a short story that is focused on the Robot Legion. So it's focused on a Robot Legion technomancer who is the technomancer retired, essentially retired. I don't know. He's a robot, and he's kind of like peacefully living, in this. Oh God, I don't know what you call it now. Whatever. This big garden thing where like he grows like a lot of flowers and plants, and he gets a visit from he gets a visit from an old acquaintance from a different faction, And yeah, they kind of start talking about the plants and the things that he has there, and yeah, he basically like has a flashback to a memory, of when the Technomancer was at war, and well, how the Technomancer discovered his love for gardening through war. That's essentially the core of the story. I think it sounds silly, but it's a cool story. Um, so yeah, one of the new short stories that's gonna come out. Very excited for the short stories. Yeah, very happy to see that they're coming along, and yeah, I hope you guys are gonna enjoy them when they come out. All right, next up. Oh, okay. World Guide work in progress shot. So, well, aside from the short stories, another way that we're going to be exposing the Lord, the lore is via these world guides, what we're currently calling the world guide. And so the world guides are basically these books, 35 pages long, something like that, that contain, lots of lore, history, of the various worlds, talking about places, talking about, how does the world function, how is travel, how is magic, lots of art, and yeah, there's going to be a book for Grimdark Future, and there's going to be a book for Age of Fantasy, and each book basically like introduces you to the setting. These are the world guides, and then in the future we want to start making faction guides. So imagine the same sort of deal. So like a little booklet that kind of takes you through each faction. So if you love the Eternal Dynasty, you get the Eternal Dynasty faction guide, and it tells you everything about them, like their history, their timeline, their lore, how do they dress, how's their society, what do they eat, do they have pets, how does magic work, how are they organized, what are the most notorious clans, for the Eternal Dynasty, what are different paint schemes, what are, how are names, how does their language work, how is their currency, and then going through every unit and actually like giving you a little bit of like background story for each unit. um, yeah, very cool stuff. Also something that we've been working on for a while. And here I'm just gonna show you like a little snippet from the Grimdark Future World Guide. So this is an illustration showing you basically an ice planet with some sort of old, frozen over. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's an alien. It's a robot. Maybe it's a creature, kind of like lurking inside of the ice. And yeah, so this is one of the many art pieces that you're going to have in these books. I think each book has around 100 pieces of art. So it's a big production. Okay. Do we have anything else? Okay, cool. Whew. Jesus Christ, 40 minutes just talking about the basic things. So let me try and speed run this so that we get to something. We can get to the end before it's too late. All right, so now we're going to go through the previews of some of the stuff that's coming out in February. So for the Ratman, we have, yeah, for just gonna put this out there. So for those that don't really know, so until recently, we had been doing 3 armies a month. So this was a temporary thing for like that for around like 6 months. We released 3 armies every month instead of like the usual 2 armies a month, which is the norm for us, by the way. So I know that's a lot of people joined over those 6 months and they think like that the 3 army thing is the norm, but it's not the norm. 2 armies was always the norm. And also, like we're saying 2 armies, but it's 2 armies and the legendary thing and the loyalty rewards and the terrain and the tokens and the bases and the rules and the missions and so it's just 2 armies that you're getting. It's not just 2 armies, but whatever. We're switching back to 2 armies, and as part of the 2 armies thing, we're actually increasing as part of going back to the 2 armies. We're actually increasing the amount of units that we're releasing each month. So before we would release like 4 units per faction per month, and now we're releasing 5 units per faction per month. So that's 25% more models, which is cool. So yeah, basically I'm gonna take you through like the 5 or 6, well, whatever, units for the Ratman, then for the sisters, and so on. Okay, cool. So for the Ratman, so first up we have the scouts. The Ratman scouts are, um, well, they're kind of like these stealth assassin sort of units. I think they have scout, stealth, and Scout, let me think. Scout, Stealth, and Strider. They have dual hand weapons, and they also have like other gear that thing can be upgraded with. They have like smoke bombs. They can have like throwing knives. So yeah, here you can see one of the Ramen Scouts, and actually they come like a little buddy that has like a huge shuriken on his back. So it's very cool. So yeah, this is the scouts, and then the scouts have a leader, and that is the Ratman assassin. So yeah, here we can see the Ratman assassin. The Ratman assassin, again, similar thing. The dual hand weapons and like a nice flowy cape. The assassin is a hero, so he comes with a couple of more cool options, which is like this. He has this cool mask. He or she they can put on. And actually, like here in this screenshot, you can't see it very well, but in the back, like they have this flowy cape, and then the cape has like additional flowy bits at the top. So it's really cool from when you see the model in 360. It's actually a very cool model. When you just see it here from the front, then maybe it's not that cool. But yes, this is the assassin. Um, then what are we gonna get? Oh, okay, the Ratman snipers. So this one I'm very excited about. So the Ratman sniper teams actually. So it's going to be three sniper teams, each one with two snipers in unique poses, which is very cool. Here we're showcasing one of my favorite poses, which is you have the gunner in the back, like aiming the sniper rifle. The guy in the front kind of like peeking over the pavis, and actually on the shoulder you can see that there's a little rat buddy with huge binoculars. Oh well, for his size, kind of like scouting the battlefield. Yeah, very cool. As always, like very very cool, very very inventive. The Ratman. If you look at their weapon, actually the way that the sniper rifle works is that there's this sort of like pump. So they have a backpack and they basically like pump with the foot, and they fill the backpack with air, and then you basically put a bullet in the rifle, and then it's basically you have like this lever at the bottom that you snap, and then like the pressurized air basically shoots out the thing. So it's not actually a gunpowder weapon, but it is still a sniper rifle. Okay. Then yeah, and then what is a unit without a hero? So we also have the what is it called, the sniper engineer. Um, Sniper engineer, cool pose. A cool special version of the sniper rifle, and actually, his whole setup of the sniper rifle is different from the team one, because the team, there are two rats and whatever, and this guy's a hero, so he's alone. And so you can see like his pump is actually like more portable. It's attached to a sniper rifle, and he actually has like some weird gadget also, like that he has here around the elbow. Whatever, he's cool. He has cool little goggles, and he shoots people. Okay. Then, oh, okay. So, giant rats. So this is something that in classic Ratman fashion. So, the whole lore of the Ratman is basically that they used to be just little rats, and then they kind of got like a little bit like the Ninja Turtles, where like stuff spilled into the sewers, and they kind of like ate it up. And so the rats, like each the ratmen kind of like have different stages of, let's say, evolution. So the regular ones that you see, the warriors, are like let's say one of the most advanced versions. But you have other rats that also like ingested these chemicals and kind of like became bigger. And so the giant rats are one of those. So this is a unit of, I think you're gonna get 10 models. I think it's 5 poses, each with like individual cool little gadgets. And then there's a version with an open mouth and with a closed mouth, so you can kind of like mix them and have something cool. And they make nice little swarms. Um, yeah, and actually the whole thing with the mutation, I think next month. Well, we're in the concept stage of this thing. We're going to talk about them, and I'm going to explain a bit more about that. But here's the cool thing. So, boom, giant rat swarm. So, in the rules, and as you can see, classically in most Ratman armies created by other people, usually rat swarms are just big swarms of like tiny rats, which we also have, and you can use those, and they're great and whatnot, and they look cool. But we thought, we had this thing where it's like, well, what if we also made a swarm, but with the bigger rats, so with the giant rats. So we've created giant rat swarms. Rules wise, they're the same thing as a rat swarm, right? They're the bigger 40 mil bases. They have tough three, I think. Yeah, tough three, three attacks, or tough six. Tough three. And anyway, yeah, they're really cool. So they come in three different like formations. And here I'm showing you the command formation is what we call it. So you actually have a rat master in the middle, and he's kind of like pointing like go there, and like all the rats are jumping and attacking. And we're actually also going to give you a standalone version of the rat master that's crouching and pointing in case you like it and you want to use it somewhere else. Yeah, you're gonna get it as well. Cool. I think, yeah, that's it for the Ratman. Very excited to see the Ratman come along. Cool army. They're fun. They're fun. They're very cool. Okay, Battle Sisters. So Battle Sisters for February. As you know, probably, hopefully, well, mostly. We've been having a lot of delays with the Battle Sisters. We're catching up. We're catching up. So unfortunately, we didn't have the renders ready for the new units for February yet. By the time we did the roadmap post, but if everything goes well, by tomorrow I should have 3 of the 5 units ready, and by next Friday ish, we should have the final 2 units remaining. So 2 units will be delayed, but it's the smallest ones. I think it's the novice hero and a variation of the APC. So you're going to get the bulk of the release at the start, but yeah, a little bit late. I'm sorry. But okay, so what do you get with this release? So you're going to get the novices. The novices are basically like the sisters warriors, but just simpler. So they have less armor. Well, in fact, they don't have armor. They don't have any armor. They fight with pistols and knives. And actually, if you take a look at it, like the version of the pistols that they have is actually like a simplified, a cheaper version, less ornamented version of the pistol. They actually also have a version of the rifle that they can use, which is also like a less ornamented version of the rifle. And they have these cool maces that they also use. And then, and yeah, you can actually like kind of like swap things around. So you can have them with the mace, you can have them with the pistol and the dagger, you can have them with the rifle and the dagger, or you can have them with the double daggers. And yeah, then they have like kind of like the warriors. They have like the sort of like command group. So you have the megaphone, you have the medic, and you have the standard bearer. Here you can see the standard bearer. So again, a simpler version than the one from simpler, cheaper version, quote unquote, of the stuff from the main sister, from the warriors. So instead of having like the big cross banner that they held here, like they just have like a pole. And I think in the concept art, it actually, so the skull that's there at the top is actually meant to be the skull of the previous novice leader's head, basically the previous novice. So when a novice leader dies, they kind of like append her skull up there, and there's actually like a piece of wood where you can like mark, you're supposed to mark like the name or the date of when they died or something like that. Anyway, cool details. So yeah, they come with lots of options. I think in total you're going to get 5, 10, 15, 20, 23 different options. So yeah, lots of stuff for these girls. Then we're gonna have another cool unit. So these are the Sacrosancts. The Sacrosancts are kind of wild. So they're sisters with like these big shields, and the shields, I don't know if you can see it well in the screenshot here, but the shields actually have like a double, like a twin pistol kind of situation. So they can block, and then they can like shoot with the shield. And then they have they have lots of melee weapons. So they have a halberd option, they have a mace. They also are going to have a spear option, which right now is not in the rules. So we're going to add a new option for them in the rules. And also one of them can be upgraded with like a special spear, which I think has the deadly 3 rules. So it's just like kill a big monster, or kill a hero, or punch a hole through a tank. Yeah, very cool. And they also have like these big these big oppressive gas masks compared to a regular sister. And if you look closely, actually, like the pattern in the gas mask is supposed to be like like in a church, you have those vitrines. I don't know what you call them. Whatever, those glass things. Um, anyway, they have it in the thing, and they have like organ pipes in the back. Because badass. Okay, and then finally, for the sisters. Ooh, okay, cool. Yeah, I hope to have two screenshots here. I only have one. Okay, yeah, you can see the APC. So this is the first vehicle that we're making for the Battle Sisters. I think this is the first. I think this is the first tracked vehicle that we're making, because we had some vehicles for the robot legions, but those kind of like crawled, and then we had some vehicles for the Eternal Dynasty, but those floated. Um, yeah, and the Star Host have monsters, the Jackals as well. What else? Well, the alien hives have monsters. Whatever. So this is the first tracked vehicle that we're making. So here you can see this is the APC for the sisters. Um, yeah, really cool. So you have the main vehicle, in the center, and it comes with lots of customization. So it has this plow in the front. You can remove the plow, and then there's like a nice like draping there in front of it. If you don't have the plow, no, sorry, yes, you can remove the plow or have the plow. At the top, you can see that there's like these sort of chandeliers or whatever lamps there. If you want, you can replace those lamps for like fire pits, or you can replace them for nothing, or you can put missiles there. At the front, there is like a little porthole through which you have a storm rifle, or you can change it and you can have like a little Madonna there that like you can go pray to. So there's like a little statue with like some candles for you to pray if you want to stop and pray in mid battle. And then at the top, you can either have a closed hatch or you can have the open hatch. And there you're gonna have like a battle sister like manning, a nice. I think she has a storm rifle, a flamethrower, or a fusion rifle, and she's just up there like bah, 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 gunning. Very cool. We're actually looking into possibly. So we have some really cool concept art for the plow, for like a more ornamented version of the plow, but we have to see if we have the time for it. I'm gonna be honest, things are a little bit pressing right now, but if we have the time, we're gonna have like a nice ornamented plow. And yeah, like I hope you enjoy this, because well, this is going to be this is like the main shape of the Battle Sisters vehicles. For those that are keen on World War II history, actually, if you look at it, it's inspired by the Tiger tank, the German Tiger tank. So you can kind of see the inspiration there. So you can already kind of imagine what it's going to be like when you have the actual tank version with a tank turret. But yeah, very cool. Okay, so this is the Battle Sisters work in progress shots. So let's go for the final one, which is the legendary model for next month. So this is the Dread Scorcher. This is the first of, well, there's going to be two massive Eternal Dynasty, sorry, Saurian Star Host big monsters. One of them is the Dread Scorcher. So the Dread Scorcher is basically this huge dino, and he's propped up on a on a um, on a cryo pyramid. I actually have two more versions of the screenshot here, so you can see better. So yeah, at the core you have this massive dino. This is a huge model. You have this massive dino with like this nice like headgear with like the feathers. He has a lot of like cyber implants. And in the back you can see that he actually has like these big tanks of fuel, which fuel the gun, which you can see in the next screenshot. Yes, so at the top, he basically has this sort of like flame torrent gun. So he just spews flame. That's why he's called the Dread Scorcher. And you can see like there's a little gecko like manning it, just like just firing just flames everywhere. And yeah, and you can see like how all of those things, the tubes then feed into the tubes from the fuel tanks, whatever, feed into the gun. Very cool. Very cool. I actually have another screenshot. Yeah, we can see the bottom part. So you're going to get like the pyramid with it. And yeah, it's kind of, when I look at it, it's kind of like King Kong inspired, where you have like King Kong holding on to the holding onto the tower whilst the planes go around, and this guy's kind of like holding onto the holding onto the cryo pyramid. Okay, so with this we have Okay, these are all the previews that we have right now for February. I want to say something. Okay, it sucks, but it is what it is, I suppose. So we are having some issues with our terrain production. So we have some Lust Demon terrain that we've been working on throughout December, and we have Plague Demons terrain that we've been working on now during January, and we're actually starting the production on the next terrain now in February. But we're having issues with the printability of it. So, the team that we're working with to make the terrain, um, that they're not classically trained in 3D printing, let's say. So, it takes some time to learn, and we're adapting to the process. But because of that, basically, like we're trying to make sure that um, the models are decimated correctly, and they fit the print bed correctly. They don't have pieces that are just gonna be like immediately falling apart or breaking off or not printing. So yeah, unfortunately, it's taking longer than we want. Um, yeah, we hope to have it ready ASAP. If if we have things flowing properly, then yeah, in the next few months we're gonna go back to doing like 2 or maybe even 3 terrain releases per month. Depends on how it goes, but yeah, just a heads up. Okay, cool. So now let's go to the concept. So um okay, here we have concepts for March. So let's start with a unit that is currently, well, I actually think I added it yesterday. That was not on the army list. So these are the Ratman Rangers. So the Ratman Rangers are, when we decided to do this theme of the army, where we wanted like these sort of like noble Ratmen that have been kind of like worn down by war. Um, I loved the concept of the Rangers from Lord of the Rings, that have like the hoods and the capes, and they're kind of like going around in the forest and ambushing the enemy and kind of like doing their own thing. And so the Ratman Rangers are supposed to be kind of the same thing. So I think in the rules they're essentially like Night Scouts, but instead of having the dual hand weapons, they have bows instead. So you have all the cool stuff from the Scouts as well. So they have Strider, they have Scout, and they have Stealth, so they're hard to hit. They can scout in. You can position them properly. They can scurry through terrain and deal damage where they can. So yeah, you're going to have the Rangers. 5 poses. I think one of them has a cute little rat body. They have these cool capes. They have these cool bows. Yeah, they're very cool. Okay. All right, next up, the Rat Ogres. So the Rat Ogres, this is something that I have been wondering around about for a long time. Like I didn't know what our ogres were going to look like. There are so many takes on Rat Ogres from different companies and creators. And when we decided to go with the noble sort of like noble dark theme for the Ratman, it was like, okay, well, we can't just have big hulking mutant like evil looking ogres. So we thought, well, what is their spin to this? So um basically the Ratmen, so yes, they're originally kind of like just Ninja Turtle style, ingested some chemicals and became huge, or became big or whatever, sentient, all that stuff. But now they actually have they're divided in different guilds, and they have this the tech guild. And as part of the tech guild, they basically like do research into like these sort of serums and my god, this thing keeps falling down, into these sort of like serums and injections and whatever. And so basically they have invented this thing where it's a yeah, it's a serum that you inject. So you can see it here in the shoulder. He has like an injection, and it basically makes you grow and makes you become big and strong. And you can see that he also has like a couple more serum shots strapped to his chest. So yeah, the Rat Ogres, they're gonna be cool. They're gonna come with different head options. I think they come with 3 different head options. They each come with so there's 3 poses. Each pose has the 3 head options, I think. I'm not sure. Whatever. 3 different heads, 3 different poses, 3 different weapons. They also have tail weapons. So if you want, they can have just regular tails, or you can have like, sort of like bladed tail, or like a mace tail, or um, or whatnot. And yeah, they're very cool. They're very big. I think they're 50 mil tall, so they hulk over the tiny rats. They're massive, and they just smash into them. And yeah, we wanted also to make sure that they're usable in other games. So in our version, they have the big weapons, but if you don't want the big weapons, they also have a replacement that have like these kind of like spiked knuckles. So if you want to use them a little bit more wild and just have them use their fists or their hands, you can. Okay. Then okay, so here I kind of had to crop the screenshot because it didn't fit well. But we're going to get not just like the rat ogres, but next month we're also getting, well, March, we're also getting the captain on rat ogre. So again, this was one of those things where it was like, okay, so we have the rules for a captain mount, which is a rat ogre, and we thought, well, you can't have it like be an abomination that he kind of like rides like wildly and he's kind of like pulling on him like meanly or evil. So instead, we kind of have the same thing here. So like we have an ogre, he voluntarily injects himself. Well, we had a rat that could voluntarily inject himself, became an ogre, and now fights alongside with the captain as a buddy. So um, we always want these sort of like really friendly, these friendly relationships between the ratmen because they're meant to be in a way like a very loving faction. I mean, by the lore, truly they're like the shield of the empire, but whatever. And so yeah, here you can see how it works. So you have the rat ogre in the back. He kind of has a sort of like seat. Not It's not a seat. It's more like a platform situation, so that the captain can stand on the platform and then like with a big lance can like you know poke at the enemy. And he also has like a nice banner, so he can like represent the faction. Um, and the ogre has like this really cool mace or hammer that has like these rat faces and whatever. Very cool. Yeah, a nice mount for our hero. So in a sense, if you really think about it, it's not in a way it's not really a mount, right? They're kind of like buddies fighting together. It's not that one rat is riding the others. It's just that, well, I mean, he is technically riding. Whatever, they're buddies. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, we continue. Ah, okay, this is very cool. So, again, one of the questions that we had when we decided to go for the noble version of the Ratman was, well, how are we going to make the giant beast? Because usually the giant beast that you see from other creators is, again, some sort of abomination. It's some sort of either like a big giant rat that's like mutated, or it's some sort of like, you know, what do you call it? Like a Hydra type of situation, whatever. And we were like, no, this doesn't work for us. This makes no sense. This is not how a Ratman functions. So the giant beast for us is a giant fox. So basically, the Ratmen have pets. They love them. In this case, it's a fox. And they have these pets and they love them, and they give them the serum to basically make them grow. And eventually, if you give them enough serum, they become really big. And you can ride them. So the giant beast is going to be a giant fox with a captain riding it. He has like a nice banner. He's gonna have a couple of head swaps. So you actually have like you have a head with like armor. You have a head with these goggles, and actually, by personal request, we're actually going to have a third head option, which is like a cute. There's like a super cute head option that's kind of like smiling and with the eyes closed, so a little bit of like an anime option. For those that want cute stuff, just like me. And then in the back of it, you can actually see like there's like a bunch of really um, big barrels filled with the serum, and then they kind of like feed into the fox's back, and so that's how he grows. And yeah, we really wanted to make sure that like the vibe is a loving vibe. It's not just that, oh, they're just injecting these creatures to become monsters, right? It's like they're pets and they love them and they treat them nicely. And they have like, we didn't want to have like a spot where the injection is, where it's like all rotten and whatever. No, everything is very nice. Everything is very clean. They take good care of them. They feed them and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's a very cool model. It's going to come with, you can either print it standalone without the captain on top, or you can have the option for a captain mount. I was actually going through the rules again yesterday, I think, And in the rules, you have an upgrade for the giant beast, which is a rat master. So you can kind of like have a rat master follow it and be like, hey, go there. But I actually added a new rule. So I added a new upgrade to have a captain on top. So if you want the captain on top, if you want to actually represent the captain in the rules instead of just having it be there looking cool, you can now. So yay. Okay. I see somebody asked, is the fox available both with and without armor? It's not available without armor. It is a buttload of work to make a version without armor because this version was designed with armor in mind. And so everything that is under the armor essentially is not really made. It's kind of like the armor is hiding places that basically, if you have armor on top, you're not going to model it part below. And yeah, we don't currently have any plans for a version without armor. Let me tell you, I would have loved a version without armor. I think it would also be very cool. But it is what it is. Okay. And then yeah, the final one. Again, I had to kind of like do a screen cap here. So another artillery piece. So this is the rat. I think they call it the rat catapult. Whatever. It's another artillery piece. So this is gonna be similar to the cannon that you received already. So it's like a wheeled piece. It has like a nice it has like this thing that shoots the ammo. You're going to have like an additional little a wheel cart thing with a bunch of ammo. You're going to get 3 crew members, and then also like the actual piece is filled with like little delightful Easter eggs. Let's say there's some cute rat buddies doing stuff there. And yeah, so this is the second piece of rat artillery coming out for them. Okay, with this, we have gone through all the Ratman concepts. So, okay, we're actually nearing towards the end of the slides. That's good. Yeah, about an hour and 7 minutes. Yeah, very good. Okay, so let's go to the Battle Sisters. Okay, so what are you going to get in March for the Battle Sisters? So, number one, you're going to get a hero. This is the Priestess. So, the Priestess is a melee focused hero. She has like a mace and a pistol. We're actually looking into doing like different types of hand weapons that she can have. So, this sort of mace with the wings, but also like a rounded mace, maybe some sort of swords as well, and probably also some weapon swaps for the pistol, like a plasma pistol and stuff like that. Um, yeah, she looks really cool. She has this cool cape that has like these flower patterns, and she actually has a mask that she wears. So there's a mask with tears that she can have, and yeah, I think this is gonna be a very cool model for them. And yeah, in game terms, yeah, she's kind of like a melee beat stick, so she or like a melee focused hero. So I think if you put her in a unit, your whole unit gets furious. I think they get the furious special rule. They get AP1 and AP +1 in melee. Not sure. Whatever. It makes your melee guys stronger. So for instance, you could take her, put her inside of a sacrosanct. You might have some nice combo there, or put her inside of a unit of novices with the dual hand weapons or with the maces, and there's a lot of combos there you can do. Anyway, okay. Next up, we have the Pistoliers. So yeah, you're going to get 3 flying units. So number one is the Pistoliers. So the Pistoliers are basically sisters with these like winged backpacks that are actually jetpacks, and they're armed with dual pistols. So yeah, they basically like fly over the battlefield and akimbo blast the enemy. I think they have the options to have one of them with a sword. There's gonna be options for plasma pistols. I think they have also an option for like a flamer pistol. Don't quote me on that, but whatever. Check the rules if you want to know. But very cool. So shoot with 2 pistols. Then we have a second version of them, which is the Assault Sisters. And the Assault Sisters are also flying sisters, but instead of having the dual pistols, they have a pistol and a sword. Yeah, and they basically like it's the more melee focused version of the jetpack sisters, and yeah, they go in with their energy swords and just slash the enemy. And of course, finally, if we have jetpack sisters, we need a hero. So you're going to get a superior in with a jetpack. So yeah, everything that you know and love from the superior. So like their fancy backpacks, which have like the sort of halo shapes, their big capes. And then compared to the other sisters, this one has more options because she's a superior. So, she has a pistol, she has a rifle, she has a storm rifle, she has a bunch of attachments. Uh, she has swords. I think she comes with an energy fist. Uh, what else? Energy fist, a regular sword, an energy sword, a dozen pistols, whatever. Lots of options. Expect her to be flying and uh, destroying the enemy. And then okay, and then the organ tank. Okay, that's the last unit for the sisters for March. So the organ tank, you can see here, of course, the base chassis of the vehicle is the same as the APC, right? So same shape, same form, whatever. But at the top, instead of having just a sister with a gun, you have the organ, the pipe organ artillery piece. So the idea is literally to kind of like build it like an organ situation. So there's a sister sitting there. Maybe we can make it so that she's like literally playing like a keyboard or something, and then she just uh, you know she shoots. There are different options in the game for. I think they can fire. They have some sort of like more artillery, like overhead artillery, anti-infantry sort of version of the ammo. And then I think they have a more direct fire anti-tank. Don't quote me on that, but basically we're gonna look and see if we can actually provide like a visual representation of these two different types of ammo. But we have to see if it really works with the organ and whatnot. But yeah. Anyway, cool tank with a big organ in the back, and the organ fires missiles. So yeah. Okay, with that. Whew, okay. With that, we have gone through all of the all of the slides. I'm going to stop accepting responses for the next live stream, or for this live stream. Okay. And now okay, there's 29 questions. Okay, that should be fairly easy for me to go through. I'm going to share the link with you and I'm gonna pin it as well. So this is okay. Send questions for okay. Q&A. No, submit questions for next stream here. Okay, I'm going to pin a new message. Okay, yes. So the next hangout is going to be on the 23rd of February. As usual, it's on the last Thursday of the month. I might shift it to the 22nd of February, but still to be seen. But for now, the plan is 23rd of February. So you can already go there and ask your questions. There is actually something I'm wondering about. Let me double check how we did this in the last stream. In the last stream, did I? Okay. I did like this. Cool. So let me do this side by side. Boom. Okay, wait. Boom. There we go. Nice. Okay. Cool. All eyes on me. Hi, I'm Gaetano. I'm the creator of OPR. Um, you know, um, a game by gamers for gamers. That's I think that used to be the tagline. All right. So I'm gonna go through the questions, and yeah, we're good on time actually. Like 1 hour and 15. Maybe I can get through these in like 15, 20 minutes, and yeah, that would be cool. Okay, so let me see. How does one go about applying for a position at OPR? Well, so right now, in the future with the new website, we actually want to have like a whole section about like the team and the credits of the team, and also open positions and an open application form. For now, if you want to apply for a position, send an email to info@onepagerules.com. But let me preface this with some, let's say, warnings. So number one, for tax reasons, because of the way that the tax regulation in Portugal works, um, it's we are much more likely to be able to hire someone that is in Europe or in Canada. We know that the majority of our audience, or a very large part of our audience, is in the US. So a lot of applications that we get are from the US. Of course, if you're from the US, you can always apply, and if we like your work, you might get hired or you might get a chance. But it comes with tax implications that are not, super simple. So, yeah, generally speaking, that's the forewarning. If you're from the US, do apply or do send us something, but be aware that there might be like tax documents that you have to go through, and things might be a bit more complicated than just, oh, I'm just gonna get a job and get paid. Another thing is, so we have quite a large team now, and we're now at the point where, if we're hiring new people, we are looking for people that are either seniors or that have, at least a couple of years of experience in the industry. We're not currently looking for juniors. We already have enough work on our hand, and we don't really have the ability or the desire right now to hire more juniors and train more people into their position. Right now, we're looking more for senior people. So, if you're an illustrator and you just started out last year, that's awesome. You can still send us your portfolio. We might look at it and maybe give you a thumbs up or whatever. But we are not currently looking for juniors. We're currently looking for seniors. Info@onepagerules.com. Um, okay, what are some plans? Oh, sorry. Let me take a thing of water. Uh, what are some plans for advertisement for one page rules in the future? I'm not sure I understand these questions. Right now, we do ads via Facebook and Instagram. We do some sponsorships on YouTube. Sometimes we have like ad reads on YouTube. So that's kind of like how we do ads right now. We do cross promos. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. Um, with the larger, more well-known companies showing that they put profits over game enjoyment, does OPR, being a company that still prioritizes gameplay over profits, have anything in the works for an RPG game with a full rule set? In the works, no. I would love to make an RPG. In the one-off sections, we have a sort of like little RPG game that you can check out. It's very, very, very basic. I would love to make an RPG, but I think an RPG also, it's not just a mechanics thing, right? An RPG requires a lot of lore, and so if we're going to make an RPG, it's only going to be after we have the world guides out and at least a good amount of like faction guides and short stories and narrative campaigns. Like, we need more substance that you can actually go off of if we're going to make an RPG. And making an RPG, again, the very basic mechanics of an RPG don't need to be that complex, but like the whole point of the RPG is to immerse you in the world. So making a proper book for an RPG, if we don't have the faction guides, right? And we said like, well, let's make an RPG book where we include some info about all the factions. I mean, that would be a huge book. I could imagine that would be at least 100 pages or 200 pages, or I've seen much bigger books for RPGs. And that's a lot of work. So yeah, I wouldn't expect anything soon. But yeah, at some point, eventually, an RPG game sounds great. Um, how do auras work as unit goes through its turn? For example, Great Crusade gives. Okay, so this is a rules question. I'm gonna be honest. This stream is not really for answering rules questions. The best place to ask rules question is on the Discord. So go on the Discord. Go in the rules chats for the specific game. So, Grimdark rules or fantasy rules or Warfleet rules. Or if it's a V2.50 question, go to the V2.50 feedback thread. But yeah, I don't know. This is not really a Q&A for rules questions. Will Battle Sisters have any models with a musical instrument theme or design? Well, I actually showcased a couple that have like these sort of like organ pipes. So yes, there's going to be an organ tank. Would you rather fight 100 rat-sized Oni or one Oni-sized rat? Ooh. I don't know. I suppose 100 rat-sized Oni? I mean, I guess it depends also, like, do they have guns or do they have swords? Like 100 tiny swords slashing at you also doesn't sound very fun. But then one Oni-sized rat that's basically like a rat ogre, that that sounds like insurmountable odds. So I guess I'm gonna fight 100 rat-sized Oni. Do I get a weapon? Anyway, I guess I can always stomp them with my feet. Um, are you going to begin working on the FTL ships once the new rules are released? Huh. Okay, so right, this is an OPR Hangout talking about the studio. So let me give you a bit of update on the studio. So um, to make FTL ships, we require FTL concept art. And the problem that we're having right now is that our concept art pipeline is not perfect in the sense that we had the team is kind of like an elastic band sort of thing where it's like, okay, we had a few sculptors, and then we had let's say a balanced amount of sculptors and concept artists, and then at some point we started hiring more concept artists, and then we had like a nice bunch of concept art. But then we realized that with the whole 3 army release and demons that we needed more sculptors, so we greatly increased like the size of our sculpting team. And so now we actually have the problem where like the concept artists are struggling to keep up with the demands of the sculpting team, because the sculpting team is so fast. And so we're actually currently increasing the size of our concept art team. Once we have a large enough concept art team that we can dedicate ourselves to the FTL ships, we will do it. But I can't. I have no idea when that will be. I can't give you any definitive number. So we had one new concept artist that started last week. Amazing artist. And we actually have a new concept artist that's going to try out next week. On top of that, we have an illustrator, or somebody that mainly worked for us as an illustrator, that's also going to that's currently hopping on the concept art team to help out with concepts. So we're trying to shift the balance a bit. We're trying to make it more balanced again and have more concept artists. So hopefully in the next months we'll be able to start on the FTL ships, but I don't know. The main armies are always a priority. Unfortunately, it just is what it is. But yeah, we had started working on FTL concept art, but then we had to stop because we other production things had come in. But yeah, regarding Age of Fantasy Quest, will the Grimdark Future Firefight equivalent be a new product or an update to Gang Wars? Will Gang Wars see any update as a result of the? Okay, so Gang Wars and so Age of Fantasy Quest and Gang Wars are two very different things. So Age of Fantasy Quest, and by extension, Grimdark Future Quest, or whatever we might call it, are games that function very differently. So they do have core rules which are relatively similar, but they work differently. It's a co-op game. You're fighting against DI. You have a compendium. You have character creation. You have special skills. So the Grimdark Future equivalent of Age of Fantasy Quest will not be an update to Gang Wars. It will be its own separate game. Who knows? Maybe one day we will make a Gang Wars expansion for Grimdark Future Quest, or or a campaign for Grimdark Future Quest that is set, in the Gang Wars setting. Because actually, like, yeah, we have an idea for the Gang Wars as a setting, well, within the Grimdark Future universe, but whatever. When will the mecha axolotls be coming out? So first off, I don't know. Can anybody spell it properly? Do you say axolotl? 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 Anyway, when will the mecha axolotls be coming out? Not anytime soon. So I'm going to be very honest. So we have so many armies in our games. We have like 50 plus armies in our games, and we have only produced models for very few of them. And whilst we do want to keep releasing new completely original armies, we also do need to focus mostly, let's say, on the standard armies. So I think for the near future, at least for the foreseeable near future or whatever, um you can expect us to be covering more, well, armies that already have rules in the game, but as we want to do and we want to keep doing, give them enough of our own spin that if somebody reaches OPR without knowing about other games, I mean, they would never know, right, that it's that you can use these as proxies for other games. So you can expect us to focus on things like that more in the future, or in the near future. But yes, I really want the axolotls. Yeah. I just need to really scale up our production so that we can make, 10 armies a year, and then we can do all the crazy stuff that we want. Okay. In an effort to develop more lore for the various factions and get the community to have input for what lore gets added, is there any chance we would be able to have more writing jams per year? So, number one, the community does not have input on what lore gets added. That's I'm not sure where you got that, but I just want that to be very clear. We are not here to just lift lore made by the community and put it in our games. That's not the idea. We have our games, our lore, our worlds, our stories, our everything. And community lore, that's great. Enjoy, do your own thing. Try to make it fit within the canon if you want. But just to be clear, like we are not doing that or have no intention of doing that. Will there be any? The real question here is there any chance we would be able to have more writing jams per year? I don't think so. So we already do 3 writing jams per year, so it's one every 4 months. And yeah, like I think there is something cool to having like a longer period between writing jams and kind of like get people hyped, and then have these 3 times per year where a lot of people like go on it. Because I feel like if we made them more often, if we made like one every 3 months or even one every 2 months, after a while, probably very soon after the second or third one that we were doing like that, people would just get tired, and you'll just end up with the same 10, 15 people, joining. And we want it to be a bit more than that, and a bit more interesting than that. It will be very interesting to see how the writing jams change, or at least how people's stories change once the official lore has been updated. And I'm actually thinking that maybe it would be cool that the theme of the writing jams becomes something related to the official lore of a specific moment in time, or the faction or location or whatever. So like, I don't know. I don't know. Right now, for instance, we were talking about the Ratman and like how they have like this growth serum. So maybe the theme of the writing jam would be Ratman growth serum, right? And then you write whatever story you want based on that. Um, yeah, that could be cool. But well, we'll see. But yes, no plans to make more writing jams. Okay, how soon after full launch will the updated online points calculator be implemented? So the I'm not sure what you mean with full launch, but when the online calculator, I guess right now we have the situation where we still have like the old PDFs on the website, which are outdated and which are causing a lot of confusion, to be honest. And what we're going to do is we're essentially going to reach a point in the beta where we're going to release the online point calculator. And when we do that, we're going to stop having the old outdated PDFs. But we're going to continue being in beta until some other things change. So there's still some major point changes that we want to do. And also like with the whole thing of changing the PDF view to have the card view, and how that will then influence the upgrade lists. That's also going to take some time to digest and work on, and change things there. So um, hopefully at the end of February you're going to have the online point calculator, and when that comes out, all the old army lists are going to be gone. Um, any chance to get overheating and or aircraft chaining to flying and back rules? Any chance to get overheating and or aircraft chaining to flying and back rules for Grimdark Future? I have no idea what this means. I'm sorry. We don't have an overheating rule? Aircraft is not chained to flying? I don't know what the back rules are. I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. How many months are left for Battle Sisters? 4, I think. Let me double check here in my schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So May is going to be the last month for the Battle Sisters. Okay. I feel that a competitive scene is extremely important in growing a game. That's your opinion. Not only does it get tournaments at local game stores, but also allows for feedback from the community on balance. Sure, we already got that on Discord, but yeah. Will OPR see an official tournament package sometime in 2023? Well, so yes, but okay. So we want to create a tournament pack, which basically is going to be like a nice little document that explains to you, like, hey, here's how you can run an OPR tournament. Here's how you can do brackets. Here's how you can do, well, whatever, right? Here's how you can organize the tournament and provide you with the tournament rules. Who knows? Maybe we could provide, I don't know, tips on like how to set up tables for tournaments, or maybe we can also provide tips on like, hey, like, here's what we recommend if you want to use custom armies, or whatever. So yes, we want to have like a little tournament pack. And also, actually, one thing that we're working on is, because we get people asking this a lot, is like, we want to have tournament, like these sort of like tournament packs, tournament award packs that you can buy. So the idea would be that, like, yeah, if you're gonna host a tournament, you can get this pack that we're selling you essentially at cost, and then it's gonna have like some medals and maybe like some special minis, and we're actually looking into like if we can have like tokens or cards, or maybe like certificates of participation and stuff like that. So we want to provide that because people are asking for it. Um, and we think it's cool. Like, if people want to play tournaments, that's cool. But tournaments are not gonna be are never, I don't think, at least as long as I'm here, I don't think tournaments will ever be like an integral part of the OPR experience, and what OPR is built around. So I don't think that a competitive scene is extremely important to a game, but again, that's also just my opinion, right? So yeah. Um all right. Next one. Is the recasting of Regen still being considered? Yes. Can you feel the hype around the best battle report video series? A little bit. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm so busy with like meetings and production stuff and organizational things that, um, unfortunately, I don't get to like engage with the community as much anymore, and I don't get to like spend time lurking in the community as much anymore. So I don't know. Is there a lot of hype? I hope there is. I'm hyped for it. I see people comment about it, and I hope it's gonna be like a big hit once it comes out. Um, but I can't say that I can really feel the hype. Is there any chance that halfling models are in the future plans? Every army that we have in the games is eventually going to get models. Concerning the custodian browse factions, I think it could we're working on a few as well. Okay, like I was saying before, this Q&A is not for rules questions, or to discuss like balance of specific units and um, specific armies. So provide your feedback on Discord, please. Next question: when do we get orcs? When they're ready. Do you have any plans to design and release another standalone game with true to lore custom minis? Another standalone game with true to lore custom minis. I'm gonna say no because I don't really understand the question. So I'm gonna say no. Okay, next one. OPR Con announcement went, ha! So I would love to go to conventions, or at least have OPR presence at conventions. It's something that we have planned originally for 2023. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if it's gonna happen. We might be a little bit too late for some of the cons to like actually like get things going, and which is a little sad. So an official OPR conference or whatever, convention, whatever, unlikely for now. But one day, hopefully, you're gonna see OPR at conventions. Why not making minis on the scale for Warhammer AOS or 40k? Printing printing the DMC at the moment for an AOS army and need to scale them down to 40, 60%. So I guess this person is asking like why our scale doesn't match other manufacturer scales. Um, if you want to, that's the beauty of 3D printing. If you want to scale the models up or down, feel free to do it. But truly, what we are trying to do, and we had, oh my god, we had a huge discussion about this today with the team, is we really want to find a scale that works for us and that we can settle in, that we think, both prints well and looks good on the table, but also looks very cool, and you can have a nice render, and it's nice to paint and all that stuff. But yeah, we don't care too much about following other people's scale, because look, if we're bound to other manufacturers' scales, we're screwed, because when they change the scale, we have to change the scale. If they have inconsistencies, we need to have inconsistencies. Like, not very cool. So we want to have our own thing. Yeah. Will there be duchies for Grimdark Future? No, we have no plans for having duchies of Vinci in Grimdark Future. That doesn't really work that way, and the lore doesn't work that way. That being said, we would love to make our own version of some sort of like feudal guard faction for sci-fi in the future. We actually made some early concepts for that, to kind of like get the good vibe, and we did make them look a little bit like Vinci. But I don't know when, if it will ever happen. Okay. Have you considered delegating part of community management? Yes, we actually have community managers, we have customer service people, we have mods. Someone else who can make decisions and implement changes regarding Discord. Yes, we have mods. This way, questions, requests, need from the community can be addressed without requiring direct intervention from you. Yes, we have mods. Yes, that's, look, very nice of you to ask, but yes, we have mods. Don't, if anything happens, at moderators. They can help, they can change, and yes, if there is anything major that they need me for, they will ask me. But yeah, we do have a mod team. Will the world books be available in hardcover? Okay, let's talk about this. So I am very, very, very hesitant in doing anything physical. One of the big strengths of OPR is that we are digital first, especially with the lore books. Like, we can, so we have a bit of a problem there, which is like, okay, imagine we do the lore books as soft covers or hard covers or whatever, or both options or whatever that you can buy on Drive-Thru RPG as a print on demand thing. What happens if we want to change some of the lore, or we notice some errors, or we as we start making more armies, we want to update the art? What happens then? Do we just update the book? Do we have to make another edition of the book? What happens then to the people that already bought the book? What if we change something in the lore? Do we then need to give you sort of like FAQ style, or whatever you call it, errata style piece of paper that then is like, oh, on page 32, replace this paragraph with this paragraph? Everything gets more complicated with physical. That being said, I do think that out of all the things that we do, the lore books are the most ideal candidates for a physical release, because they're um they're not like the rules that are constantly changing. But I'm also not sure if it would be a big enough book to warrant a hardcover. So right now the plan is that a world guide is around 35 pages, 35, 40 pages, something like that. A faction guide, I would imagine, is going to be, sure, maybe a little bit bigger than that. 40 pages, maybe 50 pages. Is 50 pages really enough to have like a hardcover? Like, are we going to end up with like a hardcover that's like this thin, where like the cover is as thick as the actual text? I'm not sure. Yeah, to be decided. Is there a resource for matching model parts with the army book options for the OPR models? For example, Robot Legion Guardians have STLs have a lot of swords, spears, rifle, but the books have rod shot, hyper sword, and void sword, etc. Um, Not right now. Not really. This is so. Well, okay. So I think in part some of these problems are going to be resolved with the faction guides, because I could imagine that the faction guides are going to have a section that's like an armory where you get pictures of like all the weapons, and then you get like the picture with the name, and then maybe like for some of the weapons, or maybe even all of the weapons, you're going to have like a nice little description of like how it functions and what it does, and that's cool. But outside of that, not really. The thing is, like, when we name things in the STL files, we're trying to be as pragmatic and simple as possible. So like, we're going to name a sword. We're not going to name it a hyper sword, stuff like that, unless there was a specific thing. So there's that. But that being said, one of the reasons why some of the units, especially older things like the robot legions and stuff, have this issue is that not all weapon options are actually represented right now. Right now, we just have one sword type or one spear type or whatever. But we have actually been working on concept art for those additional options, and we would like to in the future to add them to the units. So um, hopefully one day you're actually going to have, Robo Legion Guardians with the swords and the spears and the actual rods and the actual hyper swords and the void sword, and they're going to look different. And you're going to have I think they have something called an atom pistol as well. I think they also have options for epic. Whatever. Like, yes, we want to work on more options, but again, it takes time. Um, are there any plans for the next fantasy armies? There are plans. Yes. Google Translate. Okay. Will you add a marker of owned models in the library to Army Forge? It would definitely make it easier to build an army. Uh, there are no plans for that, but who knows? We could add it. So go bother the people, go bother Adam and Moritz in the hashtag OPR apps channel on Discord about this, and yeah, maybe they can add it to GitHub as a feature or something like that. Okay, next one. Oh, this is the final question. Are you accepting unsolicited artwork submissions? It depends. Like, are you just sending us art for us to check out, or is it like, are you applying for a job? I mean, sure, you can send us stuff, right? But you know, please don't just spam us. Else we're gonna have to block you. Ideally, if you are, someone with years of experience in the industry, or or a senior illustrator, and you want to show us your stuff and be like, hey, like, I would love to work for you, then please do send it info@onepagerules.com. If you just made a sketch of something cool, honestly, here's the thing: the best place to share your artwork and your stories and your lore and everything cool that you've made is on Discord, because that's where you're gonna have like, what, 12,000 plus people in the community that are going to be able to like check it out and give you feedback and be excited about it. If you send it to our email, we get so many emails, we get so much stuff. It's just gonna get buried in there. Honestly, it would be a shame to just kind of send us something and it just kind of gets lost. So I would recommend like share stuff in the Discord, unless it's a job application, like I said. Okay, cool. So this was all the questions that we have there. Technically, we have 15 more minutes, but whatever. Let me scroll here and see if I can catch a couple of questions, maybe, that were asked, and then we will leave. I make useless comments and terrible jokes. Can I get hired? You're hired. What are the plans for the sci-fi version of Age of Fantasy Quest? It's the same question you asked before. What? Will the writings James stay on the new website? Yes. Have you settled on a name for Grimdark Future's analogy of Age of Fantasy Quest yet? Not really. Axolotl is pronounced Beetlenid. That's cool. Maybe 1 or 2 original armies a year. So we actually have a ratio that we are trying to maintain, simply because of the amount of armies that we have, which is that for every 3 official armies, we're going to make 1 original army. Official, original, whatever. For every 3 classic armies, we're going to make 1 original army. Original army means also something that, like, for instance, I don't know, Shadow Stalkers. Once we do them, we're gonna do our take on them, which is going to be so, already Shadow Stalkers are an army that, like, most people don't even really know what it's based on, and we're gonna have like a unique take on it. So it's going to be an original army. So stuff like that also counts as an original army, but we have this ratio that we do. So yeah, 3 to 1. So in a year, right now, okay, if everything goes really well, sorry, because I feel like now I just kind of give you like a half answer. So if everything really goes according to plan with production, everything goes really smooth, everything goes perfect, whatever. Currently, we should be able to produce 6 armies per year, which is a lot, to be honest. We used to make like 2 armies per year, I think. 4, maybe 3, whatever. 6 armies per year. And I'm talking about 6 full big armies. So like the Ratman, right? Like armies that have like 30, 35 units. So that means that, theoretically, yeah, every 12 months? No, wait. Well, it depends on how we release them. But yes, it should work out to about 1 to 2 original armies per year, something like that. When we will see OPR Battle Brothers and Marauders, the most iconic factions OPR started with. What do you mean OPR started with? No plans for Battle Brothers and Marauders right now, as for everything. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I have to say, compared to the questions on the actual sheet, the stuff that's in here in the chat is a bit random. So maybe it's really good that we're using that sheet. Regarding the art, can we have a fan art channel on Discord? I guess. I'm trying to think of where we would put it. You know what, dear sir? I shall create one right now. And then let's see what happens to it. There we go. OPR fan art. Channel created. You can now find it right above or below, whatever, the videos thing. Cool. Enjoyed. I like the simplicity of your games. Are you going to keep the one-page part updated as the game gets bigger and complicated? The game is not going to get bigger and more complicated. So that's the thing. And that's actually why, for me, having and maintaining the one-page version of the rules is so important, because sorry, because having this one-page constraint works sort of like as a safety check to how complex the games are getting. Because every time, like, imagine, like, maybe, I'm feeling wild and I go in there and I'm like, oh, let me change this and add this and whatever, and then things start like blowing out of the one page thing, and so that immediately tells me, like, okay, wait, if we're blowing out of the one page thing, it means we're overdoing something. So yes, the one page is going to keep being updated, because it is for me, it's the way to play the game. Everything else is ancillary to it. Is there a chance of OPR finding a printer manufacturer as a sponsor? We already have a printer manufacturer, onlygames.co. You can go there and get physical print of our models. Right now, they are in the UK. We are hoping that they're going to open a manufacturing facility in the US, and then later also in the EU. And if that happens, you're going to be able to buy our cool minis, no matter where you are in the world, for cheap and fast and no shipping problems, and yeah, all the cool stuff. Do you take community outcry for an army or model type into account when choosing the next army to make? community outcry. No, not really. So what we are going to do is have um so for example, right now we're working on the Ratman and the Battle Sisters, and we currently haven't revealed what's coming out after the Ratman and Battle Sisters. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to spend now we're spending right now some time preparing some new concept art, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have a poll on Facebook on Patreon, where we kind of like we're going to showcase the armies and say like, hey, which armies do you like the best? Give us your comments, give us your feedback, and whatever. And then we already have some plans of what is going to happen in the future, but we're going to take that into account. Last year we had done a poll like that as well, and at the time it was different. At the time we made a poll where we said, here are the armies that we have concept art for, and here's the poll, and now you pick which army we make next. And honestly, it was a mess. So instead, we're changing that. So we're going to showcase the art, the new art that we have. We're going to make a poll to kind of like gauge the interest of it. We're going to have like an open box where people can provide their feedback. Very cool. Um, but then we're not going to show any results because it's not a choose what's coming next poll. We're just gonna take that feedback into account to see like, hey, do we actually think that there's some valid things here for which we should change the armies or for which we should adapt things and whatever. But no, we don't want to, in a sense, listen to community outcry, because community outcry is the majority of the time it's a very very small part of the community being very vocal. And if we start changing our vision for our games and our models and our lore and our everything just because there are a couple of people who are really 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 loud on the internet, then I think we're doing everyone a disservice. So no, we don't take community outcry into account in that sense. All right, official video tutorials for OPR games. Ish, we might do like sponsored video tutorial stuff, but um I don't know, it's complicated. It would be amazing, honestly, if we had like a physical studio here where, we had we had some 3D printers, and we had like painters, and we had like some tables, and we had people, actually like filming battle reports and filming things every day. That would be really awesome. But it's also a really big thing to set up. Like, we need the space, we need the material, we need all of the legal stuff that comes with that. We need the personnel, of course. So it's a whole project in and of itself. So official video content, tough right now. Tough right now. But sponsored video content, yes. Okay, somebody says, "Oh, sorry, I meant like Elegoo as a sponsor." Oh, um, we have been in contact with all of the major 3D printing manufacturers over the years. And without naming names and without saying anything, let's say that there is a lack of organization that makes sponsorships very hard. We did do one sponsorship with one manufacturer at some point. We did like a giveaway. And honestly, it was very messy. And I don't think that anybody really benefited from it, except for maybe them who got like a shout out from us. Yeah, unlikely for us to do sponsorships with manufacturers. I mean, unless some really cool 3D printing manufacturer comes out that is like, on top of their game and actually answers our emails and actually provides the things that they promise and stuff like that, then that would be great. But I'll apply for your studio job. Do you live in Lisbon, Portugal? If yes, hit me up. If not, yeah, unlikely. Okay, cool. So I think we've gone through all the questions. Don't forget the like, check out the pinned message. That's where you submit your questions for the next stream, because in the next stream, I'm only going to be answering those questions. New questions asked during that stream are going to be answered in the next stream. So if you have if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any blah, 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 whatever the usual stuff, go on there now, or well, if they come up by before the next stream, put them there, and I'll filter through the comments. Okay, cool. So it's been almost 2 hours. Very cool stream. This worked pretty well. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add really. I hope you guys liked what we showed. I'm very excited for the new website and the new army forge, and the new armies, and the new lore and the new art, and there are so many cool things coming, and I'm just waiting for the day that we actually like drop them and release them. So it's all of these streams are very cool, but also in a weird way they're a little bit, a heartache. Like, it's painful to always show you guys like, oh, this cool stuff that you aren't gonna have yet. um but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, I'm gonna head out. Thank you for joining the stream, and yeah, I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.